All right, welcome back. And we are continuing with the exercises in section 3 of chapter 2 in the Python programming course. In the previous video, we did the remaining reading in this section on nested conditionals, and then we did the first exercise that followed that reading. Now we're going to do exercise 2 in this video. If we can get this done pretty quickly, we'll try the last exercise down here. If not, we'll just do that in a separate video, just so it's the videos are short and so you don't have to sit here and hear me babble for the next half hour. So this exercise is, and the solution to this exercise is already up on GitHub, so go give it a look if you want to take a look. If you missed that video, the link will be in the description. Please give that repo a star if you can, and please give this video a like. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will be sure to answer them either in the comments or with a follow-up video. So this exercise is called Alphabetically in the Middle. It says, please write a program which asks the user for 3 letters. The program should then print out whichever of the 3 letters would be in the middle if the letters were in alphabetical order. You may assume the letters will be either all uppercase or all lowercase. Some examples of expected behavior. Here we have first letter is X, second letter is C, third letter is P. The letter in the middle will be P because P sits between the letters C and X in the alphabet. Here we have the letter C, second letter B, third letter A, and the letter B will be in the middle between A and C. So we know that we're going to have to keep track of 3 variables. So we're going to have letter 1, which equals to an input, first letter. If you remember from some of the previous videos, one of the keyboard shortcuts that I talked about, if you hold Shift, Alt, and the down arrow key on your keyboard, it will duplicate whatever line that your cursor is currently hovered over. Not hovered over, but currently highlighted. So if we change this, for example, to letter 2 and change this to second, and if I hold Shift, Alt, and the down key again, it will duplicate that line, making it easier for me to just go in and change some small parts, and then we can proceed. So we have to check, I think 6 different positions for each letter. Not for each letter, but for all 3 letters. So the first one we're going to check whether it's between the first letter and the second letter, the third letter and the second letter, and then inverse those. Okay, here's another way for me to explain this. So in order for us to determine whether a given letter sits between the other 2 letters, we have to first check if the first letter appears in the middle between letters 2 and 3, if 2 is the lower letter and 3 is the higher letter. And then we also have to check if the first letter appears in the middle, if the third letter is the lower letter and the second letter is the higher letter. It'll be easier to see it in code. So let's do that right now. So if I say if letter, so if you want to see if letter 1 is in the middle, we'll say if letter 2 is less than or equal to letter 1, and if that's less or equal to letter 3, or if letter 3 is less than or equal to letter 1, which is less than or equal to letter 2. So if this is true, then it doesn't matter if this side is true, right? Remember with the or logical operator, one side has to be true. So if, in this example, if letter 1 is C, then letter B, the second letter is B, and the third letter is A. So this would be asking, is C in the middle between B and A? Well, that's clearly not the case. Then here we're going to check if C is in the middle between A and B, and that's also not the case. So we know that that won't be what's the middle letter. So here we'll just print the middle letter is, I'm just going to put here, letter 1. So we check if letter 1 shows up in the middle between if letter 2 is the lower number and letter 3 is the higher one, or if letter 3 is the lower one and letter 2 is the higher one. That's how we can confirm whether or not that letter comes in the middle. Then we're going to say else if letter Now we're going to check for letter 2. If letter 1 is less than or equal to letter 2, which is less than or equal to letter 3, or letter 3 is less than or equal to letter 2, which is less than or equal to letter 1. So again, just going to print here that letter 2 is the letter in the middle. Else, now that we know that, so this one's going to check if letter 1 is the middle one. If it's not, it's going to check if letter 2 is the middle one. And if that's not, then that means that letter 3 will have to be the middle one. So we don't have to do any conditional checks here. We can just print the middle letter is letter 3. Now what you could do is have these 3 letters here like that, and then do your conditional. Then you can have another variable that's going to set that letter to be the middle letter, and then in the bottom here just print out whatever that, have one print statement. I'm pretty sure that's how they're going to do it, but we're going to do it this way because it's a little bit, just goes along with what we just learned in the course material. So let's run this. So if we plug in X, C, and P, P is in the middle. If we plug in C, P, and X, P is still in the middle. A, B, and C, B is in the middle. B, C, A, B is in the middle. C, B, A, B is still in the middle. Okay, so here we have an error. Y was not, it said that the middle letter here is Y. So let's do Y, X, Z. Y, X, Z. Middle is Y. Oh, okay, so I just wrote this wrong. The letter in the middle, not the middle letter is. The letter in the middle. So this is just issue with what I wrote here. So if we test this, the letter in the middle is Y. Oh, right, because I put a comma here. Right, I didn't do an F string. Because I put a comma here, Python is going to automatically inject a space between this string and what's going to be printed here, what the letter is going to be printed. So I don't have to put a space there. Test this one more time, and there we go. So yeah, don't be afraid to run your code. Let's see the model solution. Okay, so they did it with nested if statements. So here, if letter 1 is greater than letter 2 and letter 1 is greater than letter 3, then we check if letter 2 is greater than letter 3, then the middle will be letter 2. So, because here basically it's checking, it's going to check, here what it's going to value that letter 1 is the biggest number, right? Then it's going to check if 2 is in the bigger, is the biggest number between all 3 letters. Then they're going to check if letter 2 is bigger than 3. Because we know that letter 1 now is already the biggest letter, then letter 2 logically would have to be the second largest letter, which makes the middle be letter 2. Otherwise, the middle will be letter 3. And then same thing here, just checking further and further, further, and then finally the print. So almost like what I said they would do. They have an additional variable here that sets what the middle will be, depending on the evaluation, and then they print it out. They print out the final statement down here. But this is how we did it, and that's how they did it. So this solution will also be uploaded to the GitHub repository. And yeah, awesome. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.